think it really depends on what the transformation is, right? And I think that the more effective and efficient and simple that transformation is, right, the more powerful and valuable that's going to be for your clients. And so if you can get somebody from point A to point B where they want to be in 4 weeks, and they are showing them that result that they want, and they have that transformation that they're looking for, right? That's all that there needs to be, because the value is in the result and the amount of time that it takes to get that result. And so the faster you can take somebody into a new result and they can keep that result without losing it, right? That's the value right there. And the more that is in alignment, the higher the price that you can charge, because that value is going to be there.
Hello, my loves, and welcome back to Create Your Life. I am your host, Simone Leah. So I just wanted to let you guys know that today's interview is actually an interview that I recorded about a year ago when I ran an online event called the Soul-Led Entrepreneurs Summit. It was a really, really, really wonderful event. I had some beautiful, amazing speakers talking about things like connecting with your intuition and how you can use that in your business, how to do Facebook advertising, how to do marketing as a soul-led entrepreneur, all of these cool things to do with business, entrepreneurship, and actually also spirituality and connecting within. And so these interviews were so wonderful that I really wanted to be able to share them with you now. So if when you're watching this, you see or hear the word soul-led entrepreneurs, this is still the Create Your Life show, but these interviews were just too good for me to keep to myself any longer. So I really, really, really hope you guys enjoy this interview, and I can't wait to connect with you again soon. Hey guys, and welcome back to Soul-Led Entrepreneurs. My name is Simone and I am your host. Today I had the absolute pleasure of interviewing Shane Gurnee from Self-Mastery Mindset. So Shane's a coach who helps people. He helps aspiring coaches and entrepreneurs to hit their 10K months by bulletproofing their mindset. So it was actually an amazing conversation, because not only did we talk about putting together a program and how to do that from wherever you're at, we also talked about what are some of the mindset things that can come up and how do we work through those things. So it was literally an amazing conversation, literally around the topic of creating 10K months in your business as a coach. Now, what I loved about this conversation is Shane. His energy is infectious. You can see that he is so connected and so passionate to what he does for people and how he helps them, that it just kind of glows right out of the screen. And you can't help but feel that connection to him. So if you're listening to this, I'm sure you'll be able to hear that. And if you're watching this, you will definitely be able to see that. He is so passionate and just really connected to himself. And it was really nice because that self-awareness and that connection with self that he has enabled him to just have this beautiful, vibrant being, if that makes sense. So I loved this conversation because when we first got started, he actually shared his backstory and how he came to be where he is, which was a really beautiful moment to be able to share that with him. So I hope you guys, even just listening to that, can resonate with the openness that he is presenting here in this talk. We then went into literally how you can go about creating a coaching program and why you would create a coaching program and how you can price that, what it looks like in terms of time, how long the program should be. So it was really amazing to talk about that and then flow into some of those blocks that can come up on your journey. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this conversation because I absolutely loved it. Hey guys, and welcome back to Soul-Led Entrepreneurs. My name is Simone and I'm here today with Shane Gurnee from Self-Mastery Mindset. How are you, Shane?
I am doing fantastic, Simone. Thank you for having me on here today.
Oh my goodness, I'm so excited to have you on here today. We have the absolute pleasure of having Shane talk to us about creating a 10K a month income in your business, in your coaching business. So I'm super excited about that, to be honest, because I think a lot of people don't really understand what that can actually look like and how to actually get there. But I would love to start with the question of, what does being soul aligned in business mean to you?
Yeah, soul aligned in business is just so absolutely important. I can't express how important it is. But for me, that is being absolutely clear on what it is that I value, right? It's what that I value inside of me and how I can project that out into the world. And then again, how the world's going to reflect that back onto me, right? And it's knowing what's really lights my soul on fire. It's why I have this like tremendous energy, because when I come on here and I like talk about this, like you might even be able to feel my energy through the screen right now. But it just, when I talk about my business and what I do and how I can serve the people that I want to serve and my clients, like I just have this burning fire inside of me like none other. And when you are soul aligned in your business, like you're going to feel that, and you'll just know that that's the path that you're going to be on, because you're going to be pulled to that destiny versus trying to push and grind and hustle to get there.
100% agree.
Yeah.
It's like there's a pull instead of, yeah, like you said, there's no resistance. You're just going. It's just where you're going. Yeah.
You just start to flow right to it, and it just feels absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I literally totally 100% agree with that, and I love that. So thank you. So when it does come to having a coaching business, obviously you would have started out like everybody does, and there's been a journey to get to 10K. Are you able to share a little bit about what that journey looks like for you, and then how you've actually gotten to a place where you can coach people on getting to 10K?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to go a little bit back before I started to coach, because this is how I kind of came on to being soul aligned, and it's actually like what we have together here in this conversation is going to be absolutely amazing, because this is how I discovered my soul alignment. And so I was put into martial arts when I was a young boy. My dad at age 7 put me into martial arts. Because my parents were going through a horrible divorce. I ended up with my mother and stepfather, who were alcoholics, and so I built this like really strong identity around being in martial arts, and it gave me all these secret like lessons that they don't like teach, right? And so it's like how to go from white belt to black belt. You know where you are right now, you know where you need to go, all these things about learning, modeling, and seeing that vision of what a black belt's like, and seeing those people, and then actually going through this journey that you have to go through, and you become your own black belt as you go there, right? And so I had all these awesome tools on my tool belt, and I went to college. I did all the things you're supposed to do, and I was going to become a nurse, because I knew that I really wanted to help people. I love to teach people. And all of a sudden, right after I graduated college, my dad had a massive stroke. This man who gave me this awesome structure, all these tools on my tool belt, and I saw him laying in the hospital bed in the emergency room with this blank stare, no idea who I was, no about him left, right? It was no longer my father, and except for the body that was there, and they gave him 3 days to live. And I had this crazy emotional impact on me there. And at that moment, I made this decision. I would do what I could for my dad at that time. And it really became my new self-image of this caretaker for my dad. And even to this day, that was back in 2012 when that happened. And even to this day, he's still alive and kicking. He pushed all the way through that, even though they gave him 3 days to live. But because I created that identity and that emotional impact, or that trauma that happened there, I spent the next 8 years knowing deep down that I wanted more, knowing deep down that I could go out there and make this impact. But every time I would try and step out from this identity that I had created for myself, something would happen with my dad. He would have another health problem. We would have like he would have a financial crisis because of a new medical bill or something like that. And I would let go of my dream to take care of my dad. And then I would find myself back in the same place that I was. And this happened year after year, month after month, week after week. It just kept happening to me. And I finally met my mentor virtually, and they totally shifted my focus and my perspective. And all of a sudden, once I was aware that that was happening, because I had no idea that that was happening. It just was life, right? That's how life was for me at that moment in time. And all of a sudden, all those tools came back on my tool belt when I started to shift my perspective, and I gained that self-awareness. And that's why our program is called self-mastery, because we bring that focus back into you, and have that awareness so that you can lift that weight of the world off your shoulders and go out and do the things that you want to do. And so I had all this experience teaching martial arts, and I had this amazing new mindset and life coaching program and certification under my belt. And I wanted to bring this awareness back out to the world, because I just, as soon as I started to learn this information, I was like, oh my God, this is what I want to teach people. And there's nobody out there that's like you guys, right? There's no one out there that's unique like you are. And so your program is going to be specifically designed for you, and that is going to be specifically designed for your clients, right? That's out there. And somebody may be out there in the world that resonates with me, but you could teach the exact same thing that I teach, and they may not resonate with me, but because of your energy and how you are, they may love you and they will want to work with you, even though it's the same exact material. And it's all about how you present yourself and getting in front of the people that you want to serve. And anybody, if you have a product, if you have a purpose and you are truly aligned with that product and purpose, and you know exactly where you want to go, you can create a program that can serve the people that you want to serve, that you want to help, and that are drawn to you.
That was an amazing story. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm so glad that your dad's still like around and with us and being able to share in your journey and your life still, because I think parents are so important, and especially considering he's was such a strong influence to you and like put you into all of these things like martial arts and that sort of thing. And even with him getting sick, I'm sure that there's also lessons that you've taken out of that, because obviously if that hadn't repeated, you wouldn't have had that. You wouldn't have gone and seen that person, that mentor who got you to that, look what pattern you've got here, which got you to where you are today, so I actually think that's such an amazing journey. And I think it's really important for everyone to just acknowledge the vulnerability and realness, authenticity you have in sharing that with us today, because you didn't need to. You could have just come on here and like, do this, guys. So like really appreciate that. Like that was really, thank you so much for sharing that. Like really, really value and appreciate that. So if someone is wanting to go into that coaching journey and they do want to start having coaches, why would you recommend putting together a program as opposed to just trying to see 40 clients a week, 1 an hour? Or, what's the value in putting together a program?
Well, I think putting together a program builds your credibility, right? And it also allows you to be very clear on the transformation that you want to take your client through. Because I think that, in anything that we do, I think there's some very clear points that we need to create for ourselves, right? And be very well aware. One, that clear definition of what it is that we want. It may not show up the exact way that we want it to show up, but the result will be there. So whatever that end result is, right? And we have to be super clear on what that end result is. And for your clients, that's the transformation that you're going to take them through. The other piece is being super clear on where you are right now, right? And it's all in the major, like the secret sauce, right, is the being part of it all. So how are you being right now versus how are you being when you've created that transformation. And when you can connect to the being in both of those, it creates this beautiful tension in between the two that you can actually feel that tension in that inside your body, and allow yourself to connect to that. And it's not a good or a bad thing, right? It just is. And that's part of being. And when you are able to do that and you create that in your program, you're going to be able to transfer that same feeling and that same level of being to your clients and relate to them on that level of being. And because that's what we're here on this planet for, right? We're being all the time. And it just is about being able to share what that being is with your clients. And when you actually have that program, right, and you're able to say, okay, this is where you are right now, and I fully understand and can relate to where you are right now, and they can relate to where you were when you started, and then they can relate to where they want to be, right, in that transformation, and then you can show them that those high level steps that are going to get them there. That's the beauty of the offer that you can create, so that they have this beautiful recognition of where they're being right now to where they're going to be when they're at the end, and exactly how you're going to take them there.
I love that. And I would love to ask, how do you decide on what your offer is? Because some people will have a 4-session offer, some people will have a whole year offer. How do you know what the offer is for you?
Yeah, I think it really depends on what the transformation is, right? And I think that the more effective and efficient and simple that transformation is, right, the more powerful and valuable that's going to be for your clients. And so if you can get somebody from point A to point B where they want to be in 4 weeks, and they are showing them that result that they want, and they have that transformation that they're looking for, right? That's all that there needs to be, because the value is in the result and the amount of time that it takes to get that result. And so the faster you can take somebody into a new result and they can keep that result without losing it, right? That's the value right there. And the more that is in alignment, the higher the price that you can charge, because that value is going to be there.
I literally love that. So it's more about how long it'll take the person to get to the end result than kind of going, everyone's got a 12-week program, I'll make a 12-week program. You know, I guess it's kind of like when you see those books and you know they've been padded out with 1/3 of their words, and the whole story could have been told in 2/3 of the time. Yes. You know, so I literally love that way of looking at it, because when it comes to like building a coaching course or any sort of online course, a lot of people are there going, the more content is better, the more content is better. Whereas for you, you're coming from that place of, no, it's the end result. Doesn't matter how much content's in there, just have a solid end result and then get there.
Yeah, and the faster you can get there, the faster another person can use that information to get there, the more valuable that becomes. And that's kind of one of that's what my mentor taught me. That's what because the more connected you are to that end result, the faster you're going to pull there. And the faster you're going to be pulled to that end result. The more you can connect to that end result, the more you can actually live in that end result, the faster and more you're going to be it right now.
Yeah, no, I love that. That's amazing. So if someone wanted to get to a 10K month, what is an example of what that would look like in terms of client time? And I suppose that does obviously depend on the price you're charging, but like what's generally a pretty like average starting point for someone in terms of, you know, if they're wanting to get to 10K a month, it's generally 15 hours of client time a week, or is there kind of an average on that sort of thing?
Well, so again, I think it really depends on like the end. I really think it depends on the end result. And again, that the time that you can get there. But it also depends, there are so many different strategies that a person can follow to acquire that 10K month. And for us, right, in our program, that's 2 clients, right? That for us, a 10K month is to sign on 2 clients. And it really is but it could be 10 clients, it could be 3 clients, it could be whatever number it is that you want to make it. And your amount of time that you commit to it is all about the value, because you could even have a program that you don't have to commit any time to once you create the program. If you know what your people want, what your audience wants, you could create a do-it-yourself course and you could sell that course to them, and all it was the time to create the course versus you having to be present with them one-on-one or in a group session every time. But for us, we like to have a little bit of a combination. And because I personally value that connection that we have here, that energy on a call together is so much different than it is watching a video recording. Even though the video recordings are powerful, but that time together here is just so powerful, right? And so for ours, our clients, once the way that we started, and a coach going from zero to start, right? You can offer this value out to the world, see who is interested. You get your people on a call, you sell them, and then you take your first group of people through a course from start to finish without having like a membership portal or anything. And you create this week to week with your clients as you go through, when you know what your result is, right? And then from there, now you have all these recordings of the live content that you did together in a group, and then you can utilize that. You don't have to build it from start to finish before you promote it, because what if the end result that you're promoting or whatnot isn't what your clients are attracted to? And it doesn't mean that the program changes any or your information changes. It's just how you're communicating that message out to the world, right? And once you can figure out what people need to hear in order to get that end result, or how they connect to that end result, then that's when you can do this and bring people into your program.
Yeah. No, I love that. And yeah, I love that you're talking about there's the standalone products that don't necessarily involve your time, but then there's also those products that do involve your time. Because I totally agree with you. I think that there's a certain level that you can get to on your own, but having a coach or a mentor is just going to get you there way faster. It's just going to help you with those blocks and beliefs and that sort of thing. So I totally agree with that. So if you are wanting to put together a coaching program, what does the funnel look like? Are people having to make sales calls all the time, or how does that actually look in that way?
So we start, when I first started, it was sales calls, right? And I don't think that that's necessarily the path that everybody has to take, because it's about what strategy best suits you. Right. And I'm one of those people who love to get on calls. I love to talk to people. So when my funnel might not look exactly like your funnel. So my journey really was, I wanted to talk to people. I wanted to bring my energy to the call. And I knew if we were on a call together and we're face to face like this, like they're going to feel my energy, they're going to feel my passion, and they're going to feel that I truly believe I can get them from point A to point B if I can really do that for them. And so for me, that was what was powerful for me when I got on sales calls, is I could transmit that belief to them virtually over a Zoom call, in person on these sales calls. And I like that, but that doesn't have to be it for everybody, right? But that's what it was for me. So for me, it was an organic launch. I put out posts. I got all my messaging the way that I wanted it to look like, what I do, how I can help people. And then I started to follow a strategy, and I stuck to that strategy. And whenever I started to veer away from that strategy for whatever reason, right, I got distracted or whatnot, the beautiful part about it is that I was aware of it now with the information. And I think that little voice, or those distractions, or that the beliefs that start to pop up, are going to try and pull you off course. And if you can stay on course, right, and you're aware that you're starting to veer off course, and you stick to a strategy until you have enough information. Well, whether it's working or not is one of the keys. You have to have that discipline or that self-mastery or that self-awareness to stick to whatever strategy it is that you're going to choose long enough to see if it's working or not. And it's not good or bad, right? It's just more information. And I like to keep going back to that because this is a journey for you, and you can go faster by following a person's strategy that's already been successful. And when you do that, you can just model after that person in your own way, in your own unique way, because you have to be you. I can't just be Simone and try and make it work the way that you make it work. And same as you might not be able to make it work exactly how I'm making it work, but it will work in your own way because you are you.
Yeah, totally agree. And I think that if you are trying to be someone else, you don't have that same attraction power, because people see through it and go, that doesn't seem, it kind of feels like they're selling to me. When someone actually is owning it, it doesn't feel like selling, like I can tell that if you were to talk to someone on a call, it's just who you actually are. Like you're just that very vibrant, that very comfortable, happy to be around person, you know what I mean? So if someone's pretending to be that, you can see straight through it and it feels like they're selling to you. So,
yes, 100%.
Yeah, I totally agree. And there are other ways for the shyer people, you can do a webinar or whatever. You don't necessarily have to do sales calls all the time. There are other ways. So when you are putting together that program, what are some of the blocks and beliefs that can come up as you're going along?
Oh man. So I think I think that some things show up in ways that you would think that they show up, and some things show up in ways that you would never even believe that they would show up. And I think the biggest one, and I think if everybody that's listening right now, if you can take like one thing away from our talk, like this is the one thing, that when that little voice in your head or that feeling in the pit of your stomach or the pressure in your chest comes up that says, I can't do this, when you have this idea in your mind, or I'm not good enough to do this, or I'm not worthy, I'm not perfect, I'm not capable of doing this. When that little voice pops up in your head, it's not a reflection of your potential. And it's definitely not a reflection of the person that you are. Right? It's just a reflection of the old programming that's in your head. It's a reflection of those beliefs that are no longer serving you. And when you start to become aware of that and you choose to make that change or to grow, that's when you can actually make an impact and push through that belief and let it go. Yeah.
So if you were putting together a program, say for example, could you have beliefs popping up like that all the time, or do you think that it's like everyone's just got one belief, they clear that and they're good to go?
Oh no. Oh, definitely not. No. So I mean, a belief is so like that we have beliefs about everything from the ground up, right? I mean, just as simple as like taking your finger, pointing it out and going to the back of the room, you'll hit a point where you can no longer turn your body comfortably, right? But if you believe inside your mind, and this is like an amazing exercise, and I've seen like I do this exercise in my program all the time where we have people do this. We have them visualize in their mind doing that same motion, but going 20, 30, 40, 50% farther, and just imagining that in their mind, and then going back and doing that pointing exercise again. And every single person, every single time, can go farther than they could before. And just something as small as that is a belief. And we experience our beliefs every single day. Right? And this is just part of the human journey. Every single person goes through this process because when you're born, you're this blank book, right? You're this pure creative spirit. And then as you start to go through life, you start to experience things that are no longer just loving and caring. And because we don't have the ability and the tools when we're that young to understand how to deal with it, right? We make up this belief so that we no longer have to deal with that pain because we just have no idea how to deal with it at that time. And then as we go through life, since that belief is there, we start to reinforce it over and over and over again. And eventually that's just how life is. And that's exactly what happened with my dad. And that can happen any point in time in your life with an emotional impact, right? And it can create a new belief. But and as we go through, you're going to know when a belief starts to pop up, because you know you're supposed to do it, right? And then as soon as you start to go do it, and then you're like, oh, I could go do the laundry right now instead of doing that thing. And then you're like, well, and then you spend all day doing laundry instead of the thing you were supposed to do. You just hit the terror barrier, basically. And you're like, oh, I could do this instead of what I was going to do. And you compromise with yourself, right? That's a belief that just popped up there. It's like, oh, we can wait on this thing. It's really not that important. It's going to get me a client, but I'm not going to do it. Or it's going to help me move forward into the result that I want to have. And all of a sudden we don't do that thing anymore. And it should be super easy to do it, right? But it never is that easy. And we experience that every single day. And it's being able to be aware that when you do that and you actually then go ahead and push through that and stay committed, and you don't allow yourself to compromise with yourself, that you're going to push through that terror barrier, and you're going to start to reprogram that belief that's there to go into this new model that you're trying to build. Yep.
So if a belief is coming up for someone, and I love your laundry example, say they need to do something and then they want to do the laundry, what do they do? Do they just lean in and do the thing they don't want to do, or can they work on the belief itself, or what would you recommend?
So I think the very most important thing that's there is that when we experience that, we need to be it, right? We got to allow ourselves to feel whatever that is first, because that's always that is a part of us, right? And so when you start to be aware that this is a part of me, it doesn't, again, it's not good or bad, it just is a part of me. And I don't need to fix it. I don't need to, it doesn't mean that I'm broken. It doesn't mean that I need to heal it or anything else like that. It's just this part of me that at one point in time kept me safe, right? It kept me being healthy. It kept me being successful to the point where I am now at one point or another. But right now, it's not going to serve me. And I need, and I want, and I choose this instead. Because once we start to do that and we stay connected with how we want to be, right? Because being is so important. When we have this, and our program's called Be It Now, because we have to be it now all the time. And the more we're being it now, the more that's going to become normal for us. It's going to become our new state of being. And therefore we can create this new model of how life is going to be for us. And then we can just go out and do the things that we want to do. I think there's four amazing end results that every person and every goal should move us towards. One is being healthy and vital, right? We want to live a life that we love. We want to be the creative force in our life where we can just go out and do the things that we want to do when we want to do them. And then we got to live in our true nature and purpose. And the more we can do those, the better life experience that we can have. And we're not trying to fix or resolve another part of our life where we're lacking. So the more that we can stay in tune and be in those results right now, the better and easier things are going to become for us.
Yeah, totally 100% agree with that, and definitely agree that that's what we all want. We all want to be happy and healthy and able to do what we want to do, you know. Like for some people that's going to look like go to the beach every day. For other people it's going to look like getting paint in their hair and creating a masterpiece. But whatever it is for you, that's the goal, is you want to be happy and healthy and doing that thing that lights your soul on fire. So I literally totally 100% love that. And I love that you talked about just accepting those things that are coming up in the way. And I think that a lot of people, they're like, oh, like I'm doing the laundry instead. There's something wrong with me. I'm not good at this. I can't do this. And it's not that. You've just kind of got to lean in, accept that that's where you're at, and then move forward. You know, you're not denying that's who you are. You're just accepting and integrating that part of yourself so that you can have that full acceptance of self to move forward as a whole human being, not a human being that's like, I accept every part of me that I perceive or I think is good, but I don't accept any of the parts that I don't want to look at, you know? And
Exactly.
yeah,
I love that. Yeah.
like, you know, and that's it. When you glow from the inside, it's because you do have that self-love for self that includes all parts of self. And I actually completely agree with what you said about how we start as well. I consider when we come out as a little baby, we're all just love, little balls of love with filters,
Yes.
you know, and
Yeah.
they're not good or bad. They're just
Yep.
filters. So yeah,
Exactly.
same page. Totally love this. And I hope everyone's just taking so much value on it, because there's so much value in what you're saying. And I totally 100% agree with that. 100%.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Virtual fist bump.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So again, my next question is kind of coming back around to where we started. When you are creating that beautiful program, how much of yourself are you putting in terms of your story? And again, I guess that does have a lot to do with acceptance of self and where you've been. But you came on here and you shared your story straight away, which I thought was so beautiful and lovely. And how much of the story are other people, or should other people be open to sharing to help someone else out on their journey?
Yeah, I think the answer lies within you. And for me, I feel that that my story that I share allows me to allow somebody to into my world a little bit, and to understand where I'm coming from, and how this helped me, and how it allowed me to change and grow into the me that I am right now, and the me that I've always been, right? And it's I think that it really depends on you. If you feel and allow yourself if you sit there and you allow yourself to know, is sharing my story beneficial to others, and is that how I want to connect with others, then you should share your story, right? It not whether it's good or bad, right? My story is not valuable to somebody else or anything else like that. Is, do I want to share my story? And if you ask that question, you got to get an answer from it, right? That's the beautiful thing about questions, is we have to answer our own questions. And so if you want to share your story, stories are absolutely so powerful, and it allows you to connect with people on a different level. And it allows people to know more about you. And so that story allows me and you to get to a different level of connection that I shared, because I wanted to share that with you guys, and I wanted to be authentically me here, right? And I wanted you to know more about me so that we can connect different. And I think that stories are absolutely amazing and absolutely powerful to your connection with your clients. And if it's right for you, I think that you should share it. But if it's not right for you, then obviously you shouldn't share.
Yeah. Totally relate. And if the story doesn't necessarily relate to what you're trying to coach people on, it's probably not so relevant. But your story is so relevant to what we're talking about today. So you know, I think that was just amazing to just hear that and let that come into life here, I guess, in this topic. So we've had a bit of a chat about like what putting a program together could look like. We've had a talk about what can come up beliefs wise and how we should kind of approach that sort of stuff. What about if someone's got this blockage to a certain money price point? So say they've got the best offer, they know what they're doing, but there's that 10K a month hurdle that, you know, people talk all the time, got to get to 10K a month. But what if your blockage is actually specific money blockage, or, you know, a specific thing blockage? Like if I'm only working 15 hours a week, I'm lazy. Or what if they can figure out that they've got an actual pinpoint blockage there?
Got it. So my question, and I absolutely love this question, is what would you do if money wasn't a thing for you? So what would the person you would be at the end of the road when you have 10K a month, what would you be doing then? Right. And if you look at if you ask that question, you get good, clear answer what that looks like, right? I do the same thing every day. Every morning I wake up, I have my wonderful cup of coffee. I sit there, I drink my cup of coffee. I watch some ghost videos in the morning. I do my goals. I get connected with where I want to be again, and I get in that state for the day. And then I start to take action on the things that I decided I needed to take action on that day. Right. But I do that every day. It doesn't matter what happens in the morning. It doesn't matter what happens in the afternoon. Like, that doesn't affect what I would be doing. Right. And so what would you be doing at 10K a month? What would that look like for you? And then you should do that thing. Right. The more you can be connected to that end result, the more likely that's going to come up for you. But as far as money, right, I think you just have to ask that question. Get really connected to what it would be like to have that level of money, right? A 10K a month, and then do exactly what it would be that you would do when you have that. The belief that's there, if you have never been to that level before, right? Let's say you just started out in your coaching, you haven't made that in your professional career before, you haven't been around that money. Like my dad and for myself, right? My dad and I grew up on Social Security money only. I lived out in the middle of nowhere in a little boony town. and we never had anywhere close to $10,000 a month of income. And even in nursing, when I was a nurse, right? I never had 10K a month in income, but until I started to coach. And it was this interesting transition to go from, I think I need to work 100 hours a week in order to do this, to, well, I can actually work like 15 hours a week and make 10K a month, versus trying to put all that time and effort into it. What you're going to find is when you're soul aligned to your business and you're soul aligned to who you are and your end result, that even the smallest action that you take that's aligned to where you want to go is going to have much more of a massive result. And so when you're aligned and you're taking actions that are aligned, that one action is going to equal 100 more actions. And that's the power of being soul aligned in your business. It really is. I hope that answered the question.
No, it does. I
kind of went in a circle, sorry.
No, I love it because I think that also when you are someone who's going through the daily actions of life and you're going at it through a to-do list, you'll never get to the end of it. Whereas if you're coming from it and going, all right, well, what's in alignment on this list for me to do first? And that place of alignment leads you to the next place of alignment, which leads you to the next place of alignment. And next thing you know, you're there, but it didn't feel like efforting to do it. It just kind of happened that way and you're just there. So I think that definitely 100% relates and makes a lot of sense, because that's the way we all should be. We should all be flowing. And if something has got resistance, and I've heard this before, I do a lot of dancing, Latin dancing, salsa dancing, that sort of thing. And I was watching an interview with some choreographers a little while ago, and they were saying that they spent 2 weeks trying to nut out this choreo. Yeah, that's exactly it.
Sorry.
I love it. Oh, I love that. And they were kind of saying how like there was this choreography they were trying to put together and it was taking them 2 weeks. And then they were just like, this isn't working. So they got a different song and choreographed something within 2 days.
Wow.
And
that's awesome.
That's the power of just accepting that maybe that's not in flow right now. So just switch to something else and you'll find that you have less resistance. In that 2 weeks, if they'd picked songs that they were in flow with from the start, potentially they could have had 7 choreographies instead of waiting 2 weeks for one. So I think it's so important to allow yourself not to make excuses, not to do the laundry, but if your to-do list is 15 things, pick the one that's in alignment first. And that lead.
Yes, that is absolutely amazing. That is such a beautiful story, because what if they had stuck to that song, right? How long would it have taken them to finish that? And how burnt out by the time they actually would have had to do that dance would they be? right?
Yeah.
Because they're trying to force it and force it and force it, and you don't have to force it.
No, when you're tapped in, it just flows out. So
Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
So if someone did want to create a coaching program, what are 3 tips you'd give them to get them started?
Yeah. So I think there's 3 things in everything that we have, right? And I think it all no matter what area of life you're working in, whether it's building a coaching program, it's your own personal growth. I have found throughout my experience that it's really 3 things. The first is your focus, right? Understand where your focus is and where you want your focus to be, and get really dialed in on what perception and perspective you want to have on your coaching business and your program, right? Understand where it is that you want to go. The other thing is having that vision, and understanding, again, being connected with that vision that really lights you up. What is that burning fire, that thing that lights your soul up, that you just have so much energy for, and the impact that you want to make, and just staying connected to that vision no matter what, right? What is that end result that you want to create? And then the last piece, and this is one of the most important pieces to creating a program, is structure, right? What is the structure of how you're going to show up? How is the structure that you show up for your clients? How is the structure that you're going to show up to your audience that you want? And however that structure is, right? As long as there's that structure that you stick to and you follow, and you have this conscious, committed decision to be aligned with it, right? Those 3 key components, if you can master those 3 key components, you can build a coaching program, no problem, lickety split, right? Because you're not going to have any resistance to doing it. You're going to be able to just go out there, and you're going to be like, this is what I want people to experience. This is the transformation they want. This is where they are right now, and I'm going to get them there this way. And it is super powerful that way. But you have to be aware of what that is first. It all starts out with you, right? And that's why those 3 key components are there. And those are the 3 tips to start out.
Love that. Thank you so much. I think that's so valuable because, as you said, those 3 things, they really will shape the whole thing.
Yes.
So if you can get clear on that, you're going to be a lot better place to move forward. So I love that. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
What about, do you have a recommended resource that someone who is on this journey or of self-discovery and creating a life for themselves that they love, do you have a recommended resource that would help them out on that journey?
Yeah, so this one, I think so. I want to recommend my mentor's book right now, and I think it talks a lot about what I have collaborated here in this talk. It's called "You're Not Broken" by Christopher Duncan. It is an absolutely amazing book that allows you to get into this creative structure that I've been talking to on this call with you. It's really allows you to kind of get connected to this soul alignment that you want to have, and really realize that there's nothing that you have to fix or heal or change, really improve about yourself before you can go out and do the thing that you want. And it is so powerful when you can get into this creative structure that he talks about, and achieve the dreams that you want to achieve.
It sounds like an amazing book. So thank you so much for sharing that. That sounds awesome.
Of course.
Everyone will have to go out and just read that. Just the fact of like, it's just going to help you connect in more. And the more you connect, the better, you know. And I think that's another thing as well, is connection is not necessarily a destination, it's a journey. And the more you can connect, the more you open up and expand. And that's what we're here for, openness and expansion. Anyway, I'm on a tangent.
It's okay.
So how can people find you if they want to get in contact with you? Social media, websites?
Yeah. Definitely. So at the Self Mastery Mindset on Instagram, Shane Gurnee on Facebook. We have a free Facebook community as well called the Self Mastery Mindset Stressful to Successful as well. So feel free to join in on that group. And if I can give you all the links for those too. And then our website is theselfmastery.com. theselfmasterymindset.com/start now. And we have all of our free tools and resources on that website for you to dive right into our content.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I might even just share, I'll share one of those free resources with people as well so they can tap in if there's one that relates to our conversation today.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, definitely. And that way people can really just connect in and really take on what you're saying, because it's been such an amazing conversation. And I think that anyone who wants to get to that next level of coaching will get so much value out of this.
Yes.
So
awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for sharing and just being so open and honest with all of us. We really appreciate it. And I personally look forward to connecting in the future. So thank you so much.
Of course. Me too, Simone. Thank you so much too. Thank you, everybody. It's been amazing being here with you guys. I'm so happy that I was able to be here and share with you my story and the information that I had for you today.
Amazing.